My name is Tom Mwiraria. I'm a writer of many pens, and I'm a journalist and a corporate communications professional. Religious zeal comes when you're writing for a purpose. You believe you're writing to fix the world. When I was a small boy, I wanted to be a priest. And I remember when I was in high school, I gave my life to Christ and I used to be a preacher. He told me interesting stories of how he transforms himself into a tilapia and travels by night through the ocean to other continents. Hi writer, I think you're on the right path by being who you are and being authentic and true to yourself.
There is a misconception that the art of writing is a very lonely profession, and this may be true, but a lot of people believe that a writer should walk alone. But is this proven by the facts? Are writers really lonely creatures who never come out of their caves to interact with others? So my guest today is a writer. He has published a number of books. The first one was titled Land of Bones, but it was not his first one. There are others that he published before that, but that he says that he has hid them because he is not so proud of them. This is a father who is not proud of all his children equally. After Land of Bones in 2021, Tom Mwiraria and 7 other writers, including myself, published an anthology titled Broken Rhythm. Yes, I said his name. His name is Tom Mwiraria. My name is Eric Rogara. Some people know me as Miyamoto Mswahili, and this is Conversations in Literature. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Eric.
Karibu to the show.
Asante sana. Thank you for having me.
Nasikia ulituacha?
No, I just took a sabbatical. I went for a nomadic discovery in another world of corporate to explore new frontiers, new horizons. And now I have come back from the diaspora with a lot of good things and perspective to share. So I'm back home. Home is always the best.
If you've come back, that means you've left that place, or you are back, but you're also there?
Home is where your heart is. My heart is in corporate.
You need
writing,
to define corporate because it's also relevant to the conversation we'll have. Where do you work?
I work with the KTDA Development Agency. Yeah. In the office of the Chief Executive Officer. I'm the peer to the group CEO, Mr. Wilson Modhaura.
You know, we live in a world of linguistics and language.
Yeah.
And in Kenya today, T is something else. T is, you work with Edgar Obare, with T?
No, I've not encountered.
T Development Agency?
I've not encountered Eric. You said he's?
Edgar Obare, you don't know him?
Yeah, we read all sort of things, and
yes.
we
appreciate. So T, for our viewers, we want to confirm that T, you mean ile ya kukunywa chai, not ile ya...
Oh, it has assumed a new meaning.
It has assumed a new meaning,
yeah. It's tea ya kukunywa.
Okay, so I want us to have a conversation about writers,
sure,
about social life, about interacting,
sure,
writers working together, writers working with each other, writers going out into the world, and what all of these means in terms of their careers, their success. So first of all, let me ask you, a writer works alone, right? In his room, alone. Yes?
Yeah, I can imagine. A lone writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you write with others, or do you write alone when you write?
I'm a lone wolf. by nature. That is my personality. The last time I did my personality test, I came out as a high NFJ. That is someone who is very strongly introverted, almost 90% introversion. But the demands of the modern world demands that you work with others, and that's why we came together as the Broken Rhythm team to produce such a masterpiece. And that was a testament of how getting out of the cave and to work with others can bring about splendid results. Other than that, I also prefer working alone. I believe solitude is a canvas for creative expression. When I'm in a solitude, tranquility, I'm able to go into the deepest reaches of my imagination with minimal distraction.
So let me get this right. Creation is an art of a writer being alone in solitude.
To some big extent, yes.
Can a writer create in company?
The process of creating
yes,
is a long process. After these conversations, I could recall things we have discussed and start brewing ideas from this conversation. For me, writing has not. It has been a climax of some things that happened, even in childhood, some life experiences, not an immediate act. So it is a long process.
I'm trying to nail it down. When you are writing, are you alone or are you with people?
Alone. In the dead of the night, mostly.
When you are thinking, are you alone or are you brainstorming with others?
When I'm writing,
when you are thinking about the idea that you are going to put into writing,
I don't think. I just receive ideas from the universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. Writing is not a thinking business. Writing is inspiration. For me, I've written things from dreams. I've woke up from a nightmare and wrote the story, The Hill of Bones. That was an inspiration from the outer world, I believe, or maybe from my ancestors. But when it comes to corporate writing, which is a bit structural, which requires some design, you have to think. For creative, in both corporate and these other kind of writing, there is a bit of creativity. But there is no inspiration in structural kind of writing. But writing fiction sometimes comes with inspiration. Creativity only comes after you've been inspired.
So I want to understand the difference between creativity and inspiration.
Inspiration is a gift. Inspiration is a will. It's a strong inner force that drives you, moves you, compels you to create art, whether it is writing, whether it is painting, whether it is singing, any other kind of art. It proceeds from a deep sense of purpose. You may be inspired, but you may lack the capacity to write. I believe I've met all sorts of people who they have a book of their dreams, they dream of writing a book, they're inspired, but they don't have maybe what it takes to put it down.
So, a gift. A gift has a giver. So who gives this gift? Who inspires?
I've borrowed from those who came before me by the virtue of reading the likes of Sylvia Plath, Oscar Wilde, our ancestors. We share some literary ancestry with Charles Bukowski, John Fante. Those are the people who mostly inspired my writing. I believe we get inspiration from those who came before us, whom we've read, to actually be writers like they were.
From what I'm getting, is that writing has a sort of spiritual aspect to it, where it could be dreams.
Yeah.
You know, dreams, like prophets, how prophets get their inspirations from dreams.
Yeah.
And dreams may be from your subconscious, yeah, or it could be from a god speaking to you. Or writing, the inspiration could also be from ghosts. Because if the dead writers who are inspiring you,
the ghosts,
they are dead, so they are ghosts, right? And you read their works, so you are basically being inspired by ghosts, right?
Yeah, to some
to some extent.
Yeah.
Okay, so all this is somehow working inside you, and it produces literature, right?
At some point, I wrote with such religious zeal. And those days, I used to say that writing is my religion. It was so spiritual. And I read some Harvard journal of why some even top executives perform very well. They may not be physically fit. They may not even have other things that are, the knowledge of management. But why do they achieve it? Because they have a religious zeal, they have a spiritual inspiration. Even athletes, some athletes are doing very well. They could be smokers, habitual alcoholic, and they still perform because of the religious zeal. I think that is higher power than anything else.
There's a story you wrote in the book Broken Rhythm.
Yeah.
It's called Hypnotic
Spell.
Hypnotic Spell.
Yeah.
And this story is about a writer. And this writer is obsessed with writing. And this obsession becomes like a madness.
Yes.
Or a demon that possesses them.
Right.
And cannibalizes their life.
Yeah.
And leaves their life broken in terms of their marriage, in terms of even work, money, and all those things.
Yes.
He's possessed to follow this one dream, this one goal. And you say that religious zeal. Is this what religious zeal is?
Religious zeal comes when you are writing for a purpose. You believe you're writing to fix the world, or you believe you're doing some apostolic work with writing. When I was a small boy, I wanted to be a priest. And I remember when I was in high school, I gave my life to Christ and I used to be a preacher. But I started at some point interrogating religion, and I realized I couldn't practice religion in some other ways, so I transmuted that into writing. So I believed actually by writing, even when I was writing stories about human rights and social justice, I believed I was doing apostolic work. However, the hypnotic spell that you have rightly described, it is hypnotic rhythm is a strong universal force that sings everything that is about you. Your thoughts, your dreams, your DNA, your environment. It's such a powerful force that when you start some habit, it keeps on reinforcing. Like if you start a habit of taking alcohol, the power of hypnotic rhythm reinforces so much that you can stop. If you start some other habit, be it jogging or something else, by doing it, the hypnotic spell seizes you and reinforces you to some point. You cannot escape the powerful force because it's such a universal force. So for me, writing seized me by a hypnotic spell. By doing it and discovering more about writing, I was helpless to it. I could not run away from it. And that's why Eric have come back home. And that's why I'm proposing now we come up with another book, because the power of hypnotic spell is still I can run, but I cannot hide.
No.
Such is the power of hypnotic spell.
Prophecies have their intent. When a prophet speaks a prophecy, that prophecy, there is a school of thought that says that the things that are spoken by a prophet and they happened because the prophet spoke them. Like if these Old Testament prophets, if they had not spoken that destruction, maybe it would not have happened. So it's as if when the prophet speaks it, he's speaking the voice of God, and that voice comes into the world and alters the atoms and the structure of reality, and the reality has no other option but to conform to the prophecy.
I don't believe in prophecy. I believe there is no power as prophecy. I believe things happen because they have to happen. Kisera sera. The world is cyclic. The world is changing. Things are going in circles.
Be that as it may,
yeah,
that is not my point.
Okay.
My point is, as a writer, you have said that it is spiritual, and there is some force driving you.
Yeah.
In this regard, that makes you prophetic in that sense. And there is a word that you are bringing into the world. And this word, if it is coming from such religious zeal or spiritual obsession, it must have some power. So now my question is, what is it supposed to do when it comes into the world? Because even the Bible says, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So the Word is everything.
Yeah.
So you as a writer, as a creator of the Word, and you have said this word does not come from thinking, it comes from inspiration. And inspiration, it has two words there, in and spirit.
Yeah.
So there is spiritual in inspiration.
Right, yeah.
And the word is also spiritual. So you are creating the word, and the word is coming into the world through you. What is this word supposed to do?
The world is supposed to change the heart of men. The hearts of men are so defiant. Those who have come before us in the year, they have tried to change the heart of men, and it's been a futile. And even us today, we believe we can fix the world. We believe by mere writing we can, by expressing our frustrations, by sharing our idealism of the world we want to see. Man has always been an endeavor to construct the world. Everybody feels, even a writer, in his cave, that by putting pen to paper he can create. Yes, Eric, my writing has been with a purpose. I believe in ikigai. Ikigai is a sense of purpose. It's a Japanese word for the reason for being. For you to practice your ikigai, you need four things. You must have a sense of purpose. You must have the skills. Then you must have a love for what you're doing, and then you must belong in a community. That is why I believe writing, when writers are solitary creatures, they're not being effective, because you write for the people. The other day we were having a conversation where I was promoting the idea of human-centered design, that we need to create stories that proceed from a point of empathy, that we as writers, we are not writing for ourselves, we are writing for the people.
So the first part we've finished. Okay. We were discussing the lonely side of the writing.
Yeah.
So we've built that foundation. So let's now jump off from that and look at this other side, which is the discussion I want us to have.
Okay.
Writing, as it is, even if it is this spiritual and individual task that a person engages in, it also has a social aspect, yes?
Yep.
So bring in the social aspect. Yes, you've talked right now about writers writing to the people, So there is that social in the sense of the work. The work is intended to be read by the community. So the work is social. That is the work.
Yeah,
but now I mean the writer himself. The writer, not the work. The writer interacting with the world, bringing that aspect.
Yeah, I believe I really borrow from Sylvia Plath. She was full of life. She was sometimes very depressed, and she would retreat to her own world cave. But when she was not depressed, she used to go out there. I believe writers have a very narrow perspective, or ignorant perspective of the world, if they are not full of life, if they are not interacting. And that's why I challenged myself some 2 years ago to go out, interact with the natural environment, with the people, go places. I'm always discovering and going out there to interact with the people. I'm an introvert by nature, but I have to force myself to actually listen out. I'm always my ear is always on the ground. I'm always pinning my ear on the wall. I'm a ghost in the crowd. I'm like a ghost. I'm observing the human motion and conversations. I believe, yes, writers should really interact a lot. Interacting doesn't mean becoming loquacious or being so hyper, but actually expanding their worldview so that they can offer a rich perspective in their writing. Other than that, the writers who may offer perspective from mere imagination, and that is probably the most gifted writers. They write from imagination, and they receive the inspiration from the unknown.
If you are a ghost in the world, you are still alone, even if you are in the world.
Yes.
But what I really want to know about is when you are in the world and off the world, not alone, not observing the world, but interacting directly with the world. Is there room for that for writers?
Yeah, there are room for writers to get into the deep parts of the world, the deep oceans of the world, to be able to write from a more reliable, more trust.
I really want us to drop the metaphor,
okay,
and be a bit more direct.
Yeah.
When you say the deep oceans of the world, what does that mean?
If Eric, you want to write about some topic,
give an example.
Like you know what Bukowski, when the students came to Bukowski, asked him how they can be good writers. Bukowski told them to drink a lot of alcohol, to just go out there to smoke. I'm not promoting that, but what he was essentially saying is that you must get into the deep. You must be a part of the society by doing what the society does. People in the society does.
Get married.
Yeah, I believe you're able to write more authentically and more persuasively and more in a more trustworthy point of view. If you're writing about topics of marriage, if you are really married, or if you have done experience in marriage,
so
or something.
So as a writer, I should not drop out of society, go to a cabin in the woods, so to speak.
Yes,
and live there alone with a dog and spend my days writing my masterpiece.
I would enjoy such masterpiece, maybe because of the metaphors and the art of the art part of it. But I will read it with a pinch of salt. I would believe if you're writing about the life of a soldier who has been in a mission, in a soldier, if you're writing, imagining yourself as a soldier, and I write a personal story of a soldier who has been on the battlefield, and I believe the latter more. Yeah.
So the writer should go into the world so that he can have a realistic perception of reality of the world.
Yeah, a realistic.
For when he writes.
Perfectly said. Though there are different kind of audiences. The audiences who don't want fiction, and the audience who want creative fiction. That is stories about people who have experienced real life. For me, I read both fiction and non-fiction.
Can a writer be too much in the world such that his work lacks, or his or her work lacks depth? Because he's too much in the world, so when he writes or when she writes, it is so realistic that it has no analysis, it has no poetry. It is just the world as it is.
Yes.
Can that happen?
I agree with you on that, Eric. I absolutely agree. You lose some authenticity when you interact so much. That is on the if I may say, the bad side of it. I've been avoiding going to write literary groups and clubs because I didn't want to lose my voice. I felt like if I interact a lot with other writers, I'll start writing like them.
But
you
can't write like them unless you read them.
Yeah.
You can't write like them. I mean, Tom, if you and I go to a workshop,
yeah,
you didn't read my work, we were at the workshop. So how would you write
but
like me unless you read me? So unless you say you won't read other writers. Because unless you read my work, you can't write like me.
And I think those workshops really, Eric, affected me because they taught me about the story graph. How issues start and they escalate, and escalation of issues and the resolution. I didn't know of a story graph then, and that was used as a template even when you submit your stories to journals, and it doesn't adhere to the story graph format. It will not pass for a good story, that methodology of writing. And that's why with the hypnotic spell in the broken rhythm, I was on a literary expedition to try and come up with something that doesn't follow the conventional story graph.
Tom, when I first met you,
yeah,
it was at a writer's workshop. It was, which one was it? Short Story Day Africa or something like that?
Short Story Africa, Migration Flow.
No. Short Story Day Africa.
Yeah.
And we had Zuki Swawana as our moderator for that day.
Yes.
We also met Resh there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's the first day we met.
And I am not sure, but I think we also met Radhoni Kenodia there.
Oh.
And I'm mentioning it because you, me, Radhoni, Resh
yes,
would later be in Broken Rhythm, a book together.
What a team.
So and of course the others who are Odhiambo Kauma, Vivian Sharon, Deborah Mulemia, and Imani Wamboi. So now the thing is, if we had not gone to the workshop, we would not have met, right?
Right.
And if we had not met, we would not have done Broken Rhythm, right? We wouldn't.
I believe
if we hadn't interacted, that's the point.
Yes.
Whether online or in real life.
You have no proof that would have done the Broken Rhythm if you had not met those intersections of life.
You can't do work together unless you have interacted.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
So now the thing is, my question is now here about writers interacting with writers, the importance of this.
There's something Oscar Wilde said, that like-minded people are like the stars of the same galaxy. They're about to meet at some point. They're about to collide at some point. I believe in, though I have no way of proving it, I'm a data scientist, by the way, and I like to state facts and make arguments based on facts. Other than that, I believe in what will happen, will happen. I believe we are about to meet anyway. Yeah. And that happened. That That's why Oscar Wilde met who else? James Joyce. Those writers of the lost generation. They met because of the Second World War. Somehow from Europe, others from America. It was First World War.
First World War brought together Ernest Hemingway, James Joyce, Gertrude Stein, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Maddox Ford. So
it's like an ocean, Eric.
T.S. Eliot.
I see.
Yes,
it's like
Ezra Pound and others.
It's like if you've watched the waves in the ocean, the tides, when the tides of the ocean are sweeping, even in this generation and the generation to come, the tides of life will sweep and people will find themselves together. Those who came before us, they were brought together by the post-war. Even in Kenya, people like Katana Mkangi, those are the second liberation of Katana Mkangi and this writer, Professor Kwaigi Wamwere, Kivutha Kibwana. That was a generation that was brought, and they wrote their stories because of happenings of that time. Even as today, we are in this space because of events that happened at that time.
I love this line of thought because it's something I wanted to ask you about. This Kwani.
Yeah.
Kwani comes in and this what Kwani was about.
Yeah.
And it creates a whole mood. So that was the Kwani generation.
Kwani generation.
And
yes.
I had another young man here who has started another Kwani with a Q for the Gen Z. So Kwani with a Q is for the Gen Z. So it has its own sort of vibe. So here in the middle, what about us? What is our mood? What is our thing? What binds us together? Based on the works we've written, the books we've published.
We are millennials, aren't we? Millennials and Gen Z are 2 ounces apart. Try to interest Gen Zs with some things they are absolutely not interested. I've seen Naekuya not interested in some things. I try to interest her, and I think there is that generational gap. We have to write for the writers of our time. I think the Gen Z will come up with its new writers.
No, my question is, for your generation of writers, what binds you? What is your theme? What is the thing that you would say, this is what our generation was about? If you say that the Ngowi or the younger generation was obsessed with colonialism, if you say the one that came after that was obsessed with the city and post-colonialism, if you say the one that came in the 80s and 90s was obsessed with socio-political realities, the ones you've just mentioned, Professor Kivutha Kibwana, Koigi Wamwere, the one who wrote Walenisi, Kithaka Wamberia, those sorts of people. So, your generation, what binds you?
Identity crisis. We are a confused generation.
You know, Adhiambo Kauma asked, he was here, and when we were walking away from here, from the studio, he did ask me this question. Eric, what is it about us? What is our thing? We know Kwani, but what about us?
I would say...
And that is why I wanted to do this conversation with you, so that we can find out what is it about us.
I believe the greatest catastrophe, like you've seen previously, the previous letters, catastrophes, with us is identity. We're in the generation that has brought issues of LGBTQ. We are generation that is has been caught up in a lot of conversations of climate. We are a generation that is at crossroads, and we are lost. We are a lost generation. This time not because of the traumas of World War, but the traumas of not knowing where to belong and whom to belong with and what to do. and to find our purpose. And a few have been able to pin it down, but others are just lost.
Yeah. I agree, because I had Silas Nyanchwani here.
Yeah.
And I asked him this question as well, but we were talking about the masculinity thing. So I was asking him what's the difference between millennial men and the Gen Z and the ones before that. And he did bring out that aspect of the confusion, the identity crisis, and with the millennial men. And he was talking about the economy, whatever happened with the economy. But I also usually have another way of looking at it. I look at it from the point of view of technology, the internet. So the internet is like the bomb, the atomic bomb, but now a bomb of bringing an information bomb. So the bomb explodes, and information is all over the world.
Actually, the word for it, the word for it, Eric, is, and you put it rightly, is infodemic.
Yes.
And by the way, Eric, and Naekuya will tell you, I think even Gen Zs are caught up in the infodemic.
Well, the difference is, we were born in the old world.
Yes.
So our identity, half of it is our parents, how it was. Then we grew up and come into this new world. So we learn these new things. We learn how to use smartphones. We learn how to, we start using YouTube and all these things, social media. So part of us is old. Then another part of us is feminist, is all these new things, yes?
We are trying to find our place.
We are caught in the middle between what we were taught, what we grew up into. You know how people always talk about, you'll never know how it was to grow up in the 90s when we had one TV station.
And
when
they were studying from the moonlight.
Yes, and we were all reading books because there was no other entertainment. And if you there were no video games, so you used to play that thing called the brick game. So it was an analog world, and now we grow up and the world is digital now. So our souls are analog, but we are in the digital world. So we are learning, and the learning curve is very hard.
Very hard.
But you see, with the Gen Z, they are born digital, grow up digital. So you find that a Gen Z who is 18, 17 could become a millionaire instantly on the internet, on TikTok, on YouTube. Make a lot of money playing video games. So
the most I absolutely agree with you, Eric, and that makes me think of that curve of diffusion of innovation. It is the economic curve. There are those people who are called innovators, early adopters, late majority, and the laggards. Most of the millennials are either late majority or laggards. Very few are innovators and early adopters, that space of Gen Z. So the majority, Eric, that are in the late majority, and the laggards amidst us are really finding it hard to cope in 2024. And that is the identity crisis. It's a part of the identity crisis, together with the sexuality, together with the political and climatic issues. So this is the catastrophe or the tide of our time, identity.
So do you think our works capture this?
Thank you, Eric, I think for prompting that, and I think that is some of the ideas we should put on the table for our new project, identity. Because millennial in Kenya today and a millennial in Uganda or somewhere in Europe, I think they are all faced with this identity. We need to write more about identity for those of us who work or who want to. I believe a writer is not the smartest in the room, but they're the most bold to even wash their dirty linen in public through their writing. Not that they're the most elite. We need to put more narratives on identity.
Let's look at you. You started as a writer. You've done journalism. Now you're in the corporate. What were you looking for in all these different fields?
Yeah, it's the simply is the human nature. It is infinite. There's so much, Eric, you can do with this one life. And the sad state of things is that life is short, too short to do everything your heart desires. And Sylvia Plath was faced with that crisis of really not knowing. And she saw her life like the great fig tree in her story. One branch was North America, another branch was South America. She was a wife, she was a great poet, a professor, a great editor, and a great philosopher like Socrates. And she just stood there at the middle, not knowing which route to take, until, like in the fig tree, the branches grew old and they fell. So we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of, even, creativity is also like a muscle. If today you practice a bit of machine language, a bit of photography, you'll be perfect in it. If you Eric, you try some race driving for competing those race, or you'll shine in it. So we are so limited. We have a lot of potential.
Have you found yourself?
I've found myself.
Have you?
My eureka moment was in 2016.
2016?
Yes.
What happened?
In 2016, I was in such a crisis and I just lost my job, and I was in a bad place in terms of relationships. And I took a trip down the coast to live. My father was a history teacher and he used to tell me great stories of transatlantic slave trade. And it all sounded fiction. And I had always wanted to grow up and go to the coast and take that route through the stories my father told me to discover whether these things are true or just fiction. So I found myself out there in the sticks, in a village called Kichakamkwaju in South Coast, and I met Makonde people. Those days I used to believe Makonde people are cannibals, so I was there to discover about this little known tribe, and I was taken to see a medicine man who used to live at the outskirts of the village, and I did the first story there. I interviewed the medicine man. He was called so I did the first story of Makonde there, and that opened more ideas to do stories, and that was a game changer.
What do you mean you did a story? You wrote a short story?
I wrote the story of the Makonde people. It was a non-fiction. I wrote for The Nation.
For the newspaper?
For the newspaper. They were stateless people. Since independence, they've lived in Kenya for over 60 years. Their children not going to school, not accessing other rights like education, medical, even not able to travel freely like other Kenyans. So I wrote a story about their plight, their quest, and I'm happy, together with others, through a campaign called I Belong campaign, they be given Kenyan citizenship. And I saw the other day in the newspaper there is the first Makonde doctor. So the most interesting part was interviewing the medicine man. His name was he had such a long name, I don't remember, but he told me interesting stories of how he transforms himself into a tilapia and travels by night through the ocean to other continents. And I think that is what also inspired me to write all those surrealistic stories.
Okay.
I also wrote the story of in the footsteps of Munyanzi wa Menza, that is the strong fighter Mekatilili wa Menza. I wrote for a newspaper in the footsteps of Menza. I went to Mambrui in North Coast by a fig tree where Mekatilili lived. That tree is 400 years old. After escaping from a jail in Kisii, she traveled by road for many days and nights. Treacherous journey, encountering all kind of treachery on the way, and she came and bored through the whole fig tree, and she lived there. It is at the mouth of Sabaki, where the mouth of Sabaki meets the ocean, the Indian Ocean. She lived there and died there. That is Mekatilili wa Menza. I wrote for the newspaper. I also did a fiction about it. The Hunters of Akebulani. That was an effort to recreate to change the non-fiction into fiction by bringing characters and a lot of scenes. So the Hunters of Akebulani is published in the Ekai Initiative.
You started writing when you were young? When you were in school?
Yes. I grew up on the top of the hill in the village, in the
Which
mountains. In a sleepy, idyllic town called Nkubu.
Nkubu?
Yes.
Where is that?
Nkubu is in the footsteps of the mountain, Kenya, in Meru.
Okay.
And those days we didn't have piped water. And so we'd be assigned chores like fetch water from down the river. So I didn't know how to read stories in English. So my siblings would make me do their errands for them so that they can read for me a story. And they'd always leave me in suspense. They would never finish the stories. And now I really wanted to go to school so that I can read stories on my own. My mom was a school teacher, primary school teacher, and she used to bring me a lot of storybooks. She would tell me she'd give me a week to finish a storybook. Shock on her, I would finish a story in a day. And she ran out of storybooks to give me because I would read a lot of them. So, and that is why I grew such appetite of writing, and of course then my writing improved for such as a tender age, and I think that is what also that grew over time.
Okay, so I want to jump from there and come to Nairobi. You come to Nairobi at some point, as we all do, in search of local money. But at some point, you also have the desire to write.
Yeah.
But writing, especially in those days, was a very cliquey sort of thing. So I want to know how you got into the clique, who brought you in, or how did you get into this mafia, this writing mafia? Who helped you?
Many troubles I've seen. I've suffered, except that probably I've been a cut of 9 lives, and after every blow I would resurrect back. I believe a lot of us don't come back to life after the first discouragement. So it has been such a quest. I quit my job, my first job in MFI, to attempt to write, and I suffered catastrophic poverty in an attempt to write poetry for money. I was thrown out of the house. I would go without meals.
Where were you trying to sell the poetry?
I didn't have an idea.
So you could write, but
I was just driven by some mad creativity, but I didn't have a plan. And now,
who had you read? Who incited you?
Tom's Oscar Wilde. I first interacted with the story, The Nightingale and the Rose. I've also read his other story,
The picture.
the picture of
Picture of Dorian Gray.
the picture of Dorian. And this one, prose, he wrote in prison. I don't remember the name. So he really inspired me. So I used to write poetry. There are different kind of poems, so I used experiment. There are hundreds kind of poetic kind of poems. So I used to experiment with all that, but I didn't know where to take the eventual work.
So what I want to know is, who told you where to take it? Eventually.
After
Who held your hand eventually?
No one. After frustration, I embarked on a journey of trying to understand how to publish in Kenya, and I realized I could not be published with the mainstream because they were writing for schools. I learned that the mainstream publishes books for educational needs, and my work did not fit that kind of category. So they would definitely not be interested in such kind of writing which doesn't meet the needs of the learners in primary and secondary schools. And I wanted to have that creative license where I can express myself freely without some restriction. That is why I learned self-publishing. I was a member of Writers Guild at that point in 2017, where I was able to make a lot of social capital by others of my kind. The Writers Guild helped me to put up my first book. I really thank Writers Guild, led by Gabriel Dida and Vera.
We had Vera here.
Yes.
But she's the one before you.
Vera was the great Vera, great editor. She edited my book, The Lad of Bones, and the Writers Guild was able to connect me, not through that forum, through that club or community of Writers Guild. I was able to get someone to do the illustration, the surreal illustration of the bones, the boy with a spear, like a pen, trying to spear a monster. Yeah, so I met illustrators and graphic designers. Vera did the editing, and I put together a book. And this community, amazing community, loving community, I found a lot of love and warmth and sense of belonging, because I was just a lone wolf. I was just a solitary writer. I found that warmth and embrace in this community, and most of my writing, friends, that really grew me, including publishing. I mean, the event itself, they all came in their numbers. Kina Griffin, all of them.
Okay. So now, I like where you are at. So, Writers Guild is responsible for a number of writers from our generation.
Yeah.
And a lot of us met through Facebook, and some of us through Writers Guild.
Yeah.
So I met you through Facebook, and then of course later met at the workshop.
At the workshop, yes.
I met many other people through Facebook. A lot of the people in Broken Rhythm, I met them through Facebook. So Writers Guild, how many writers can you remember that it has brought forth, like your contemporaries at Writers Guild?
Oh, there is Resh,
Rehema Zuberi.
There is Vera Omocha. There is Kimathi Makini. There is Douglas Logendi.
Union
Babazi. Munira Hussein Scholar.
Scholar via Kenya.
Yes, Scholar via Kenya.
This Gabriel himself.
Gabriel himself, Writers Guild has been a miracle for a lot of writers in Kenya.
Okay. What about Facebook?
Facebook.
What has been the role of Facebook for you as a writer?
The role of Facebook has been affirmation. Even before I started, I did the book, I would post stories on Facebook, and I would get a lot of, the stories would get a lot of attention, comments and likes. I would get very heartwarming comments, very good criticism, a lot of reaction and likes, and a lot of response and interaction with my work, and that gave me a lot of confidence. And eventually, distributorship through Facebook. I think the Land of Bones must have sold well over 2,000 copies, most of which were distributed through my network, in my social network in Facebook.
Okay. So another thing, you started something called the Nairobi Literary Cafe.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Nairobi Literary Cafe, Eric, was founded on three principles of, in fact. One, it is the principle of Ikigai. It is a Japanese, like I earlier mentioned, of the reason for being. That is a strong purpose, then love for something, and the skills to do is something. I read an article where they say the Japs, they live to be centenarians because of that sense of belonging. Humans are social creatures, and I think it's unfortunate that some writers sometimes are lonely creatures, but humans are social beings. So the Japanese principle of Ikigai is what makes them thrive in small groups of full of purpose. So that was the foundation of Nairobi Literary Cafe, to bring a sense of Ikigai, which again aligns with our very African principle of philosophy of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a principle of philosophy of sharing. When I grew up, there was so much Ubuntu in the community. I grew up in a sense of belonging and sharing. Even the old men in those days, they would drink from the same pot of beer. So there was that Ubuntu. You are because I am. And that is what also inspired Katana Mkangi in his book Walenis to write about Walenis. Wale ni sisi, sisi ni wale. Wale nisi. Yeah, so I wanted to bring that age-old African it was a practical Nairobi Literary Cafe is a product of practical philosophy of Ubuntu.
Is it still around?
Not around. It served its purpose then, and that's why it brought us together. I believe the Broken Rhythm team, the idea of Broken Rhythm team begins from our meetings in Nairobi Literary Cafe.
Actually, before we talk about that, define what the cafe was. Okay, not in so many words, because we are almost finishing. What was it like? Is it a collection of people? Where were they meeting? What was it?
Yeah, we will meet in restaurants in the town, Nairobi. The initial idea was to even start our own cafe where we would serve tea or coffee, and we'd have books, and it would have even network Wi-Fi where writers can come and interact, network, share. People, like-minded people of Ikigai, have that sense of sharing of Ubuntu, and also live like the writers of the lost generation lived. Kina Virginia Woolf, Oscar Wilde, and others, the writers of antiquity, who came together after the World War in a small community. It is also like the community of the 12 disciples of Christ. They had that kind of community, a lean community, a small community full of love and warmth and sense of Ikigai.
So community is important for writers.
Community is important important.
It reinforces purpose.
I cannot emphasize that enough.
It reinforces purpose.
It reinforces purpose.
Okay, so now we can.
And also mental health. You know, writers are candidates of very serious candidates of mental issues. I think sense of community. Writing comes with its share of depression. If it doesn't come with a share of depression, I think some writers are depressed. Actually, I believe sometimes writers are not even gifted; they are depressed, and they are expressing. They're just crying. They're just crying. Sometimes we mistake creativity for cries for help. So that sense of community is very vital for mental health and for reinforcing purpose, as you have put it succinctly.
So now the next thing is how Nairobi Literary Cafe leads to Broken Rhythm.
You may recall, Eric, you came to the cafe a few times. We had Pitangila, we had Le Salon, and Debbie, and Catherine, and Odhiambo Kauma. We were quite, and Dan King, a lot of writers. And out of that pool of writers,
what do you mean coming to the cafe?
To just read stories.
Where is the cafe?
The cafe used to be at Mamangina. The restaurant is now closed. It was called
Charlie's.
Yeah, Charlie's. We meet at Charlie's. Now it's closed. We'll come there to read books, to criticize, to just brainstorm on writing. Yeah. So it attracted a lot of attention, a lot of patronage. Out of that pool of patronage,
What is patronage?
Those who of like-minded who found their gravitating themselves towards that purpose. Yeah, out of that we were able to align ourselves, the 7 of us, and eight of us, and the child Broken Rhythm came forth.
So what is Broken Rhythm?
The Broken Rhythm, it's a project that brought together Eric Rugara, Resh, Debbie, Gadhoni, Vivian Sharon, Odhiambo Kauma, and myself.
Imani Wamboya.
Yes, to write an anthology of stories on the broken, how brokenness of life can lead into also beautiful outcomes of life. Yeah, because I believe most of the stories, though broken, they have a sense of beauty, and amidst the flaws there is a broken look. For example, my story, Hypnotic Spell, this character is so addicted, has been seized by the power of hypnotic rhythm that leads him into such a fruitful outcomes out of life. Though writing is an addiction, it comes with a lot of blessing, and this is a flawed character who has really been hurt by the society, but then has been able to convert all that into a sense of purpose.
You look into the camera and you speak to the writer who believes in being alone. You speak to them based on the theme of what we've been discussing here.
Hi, writer. I think you're on the right path by being who you are and being authentic and true to yourself. I do, however, believe in a balance where you can balance solitude with a sense of community. Solitude, it's a blessing. Solitude is a gift. It is a canvas where you are able to create amazing masterpieces. So harness solitude, but also go out there to have that warmth of community, to reinforce the sense of ikigai, like Eric has put it, and for your mental wellness. So you need that balance. You may also try to do something on the side. You need resources to promote. You know, sometimes writing or creativity is a problem child that needs some pampering, some support until they become of age. So you can take a side job or something that can bring you some income to keep your body and soul together, because I believe for a lot of writers, the challenge comes with demands of paying bills, demands of life. So if you can take a side job and then write on the side until you're able to bring up the child and to caution yourself from the impact of life and the traumas of life. That would be my advice.
Well, thank you, Tom, for the advice to the writers. Very good advice. And thank you for showing up for the interview and for the candid conversation. I'm sure it's going to be as good as I have seen it is.
Thank you very much, Eric, and the team behind this initiative. It's a true honor to be your guest today.
That was Tom Mwiraria telling it like it is about writers, community, solitude, what he called religious zeal. Yeah, so I am sure that this has been as fruitful and as beneficial to you as it has been for me. Until next time, my name is Eric Rugara. Some people call me Miyamoto Muswahili for whatever reason, I know not. This is Conversations in Literature, and we will be here again next time. Subscribe to the channel, Roaring Simba Network. This show is sponsored by Nairobi Academic Press.